With the killings of unarmed black men by white police officers in the United States becoming all too common, many are demanding change. And can you blame them when you see videos like this one from a South Carolina classroom that went viral around the world this week?
Hands behind your back. Give me your hands. Give me your hands.
The Black Lives Matter movement emerged in 2013 as a call to action and has since become a phenomenon. One of the leading voices behind this movement is DeRay McKesson. He joins me now from Los Angeles. DeRay, thanks for joining me in the arena. Black Lives Matter, that's the name of the campaign. Explain to people watching around the world why it bothers you and other African-American activists so much when people in positions of authority, especially white people in power, say, well, yes, Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter. What's wrong with saying that in your view?
Yeah, so we know that if all lives matter, we actually wouldn't be in the street. If all lives matter, the police wouldn't be killing black people at record numbers. You know, the police have killed about 900 people this year in all states but 3, and have killed someone every day this year except for 15 days. So, you know, we don't go to a sort of a breast cancer walk and say that like all cancer matters. We're focusing on one issue, and this issue is squarely about black lives right now because we know that the violence of the police is disproportionately targeted there.
Is the fact that we're now seeing the Black Lives Matter campaign resonate globally? For example, in Brazil, you have the Young Black Alive campaign challenging police killings there. Is that a sign of your campaign's success? Or is it simply a reflection of the fact that discrimination and racial violence on the part of state agencies continues to be a global unresolved problem?
Yeah, so this issue is a global problem around how blackness and anti-blackness is treated. You know, I think that what the Black Lives Matter movement did is that it opened up space so people realized that they were not alone anymore, that this issue was affecting so many people, both here in America and across the country and the world.
Hundreds of black people have been killed by the police in the United States in 2015 alone. Some people say, look, you guys in the Black Lives Matter campaign, you're good at doing protests, you're good at doing viral videos, but do you have any practical policy proposals, legislative steps, which will help cut the number of those innocent black deaths?
Yep, so we launched Campaign Zero, which is a comprehensive platform to end police violence a few months ago, and that has been well received in the protest community and across the country. Yep, so it's a 10-point plan, but it is fair police union contracts. A lot of the police union contracts almost guarantee police officers will never be held accountable. And then the stuff that you've heard, so like body cameras, independent investigators, making sure that we end for-profit policing, a use of force standard that is much more restrictive. So it's a whole host of things, and what's key to it is this idea that like no one solution will end police violence, but all of them working together will actually end police violence.
You became very well known when you went on Wolf Blitzer's CNN show and refused, despite much prompting from Mr. Blitzer, to condemn black riots, violence by Black Lives Matter protesters or associated supporters. I'm not going to try and get you to concede something you so adamantly refused to do on CNN, but I do want to ask you this. Do you think it helps your cause, in terms of perception at least, when white America sees a prominent black activist like yourself refusing to condemn violence against people and property on live television?
Yeah, you know, I'm reminded that protest is as American as America itself, that when we think about the Revolutionary War, the Boston Tea Party, and so many other important pivotal moments in America that have changed the course of the country, that there is a theme around protest. And I think about what happened in Ferguson, I think about what happened in Baltimore, and being a legacy of people.
I don't think anyone's questioning the protest angle, it's the violence angle. Do you think there's a theme of violence in American history which you're part of?
Yeah, so I'd say that the only people that have been violent since August have been the police. So if you're talking about property damage, again, I would say that this issue of property damage is a complex one, and I would posit the Revolutionary War and the Boston Tea Party as two important moments of property damage. You don't seem to be condemning those acts when we talk about it, but when it's black bodies at stake, it seems to be a crisis all of a sudden.
But is property damage violence in your view?
No, I think they're two different things. I think the violence is like an attack against people.
So if you're a Hispanic or a Chinese shop owner and your shop is smashed in by protesters supporting Black Lives Matter campaigns, you shouldn't be upset about it because it's all for the greater good.
So you are like twisting the word. So that wasn't the question. The question is it violent? I said, and I'm not condoning, like I said to Wolf, I don't have to condone it to understand it. I'm saying that property damage and violence are two very different things. And again, the police have been violent since August. They have killed people.
Yes,
the protesters have not.
Yes, they have.
Right. So when I think about this property damage, what I'm saying to you is that, again, this is situated in a context in American protest. So if you are frustrated by the property damage in Baltimore and in Ferguson, I would hope that you are also frustrated about the Boston Tea Party and the Revolutionary War.
Given that racism is still out of control in America, given there is this horrific violence disproportionately targeting black communities, especially from the police, and given you do have a black president, do you think that black president has done enough to tackle? Has it got better or worse or stayed the same on his watch, this racism that you have rightly identified?
Yeah, so I think that there is something powerful about a black man being in the presidency, but we also know that these issues are important to address at like the local and state level as well. So there's some things that President Obama can do that will be important, that have been important. I'm interested to see how his term will end, given that he's seemingly more aggressive about race and criminal justice at the end of his term than he was for those initial years.
But so far, have things got better or worse on his watch so far?
I think that better or worse is like an interesting metric. I think that, like I said, I'm interested to see how it'll end. He has become much more aggressive about the issue of race and policing and criminal justice in the last 2 months in a way that he has not been for so long.
That's a very good politician's way of answering my question. So let me ask you this. Do you have any plans to go into politics, stand for office?
I have plans to figure out how to support people to end police violence, and I think that there are many ways to do that.
That is a fantastic politician's answer. DeRay, thanks so much for joining me from Los Angeles.
Cool, good to be here.
That's our show. Up Front will be back next week.